This episode of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast has been presented by the Helloa Financial Group. Paul Helloa and his team can help you out with your insurance and investment needs. Or if you're a company that is looking for a benefits package, Paul Helloa can help you out. Check out all of their services that they provide at helloafinancial.com. Hello everybody, this is Cam K. Just before we start the podcast, be aware that we had some technical difficulties in this episode with Olivia's mic and camera. So we didn't want to change anything because Adam's answers were really good. So definitely just bear in mind that there will be some challenges there. But we hope you enjoy and thank you for listening. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast with Cam K and Olivia Whissell this week. Olivia stepping in for our boy Graydon, who is absolutely hating life down in Myrtle Beach right now. Man, he's just posting pictures and having a great old time there. But Adam Ross is joining us this week, our good buddy. Adam, you hold the distinction of being the only 3-time appearance on the show. So he is leading the pack.
Victory. I'll take it
for Adam Ross right now. But before we start with the NASCAR Pinty series and how your off season has been, Adam, we know that you had an opportunity to do something you haven't done in 21 years this past weekend. Strapped behind the wheel of a car once again, a vintage modified, the number 44 machine, and you finished. That's what we can say is a great thing. We finished the race. How was it being back?
It was nerve-wracking. Of course, yeah. I was driving the Burger Barn number 44, which is my son Connor's ride. This year, I'm going to drive a couple of shows. The crew chief, Rob Twitchett's going to drive a bunch of shows, and Connor's going to drive a bunch. He's got the opportunity to travel with the Burger Barn sprint car team. They've already been to New York once, and I mean, great opportunity for him. So it left a seat open. It's hard to describe, Cam. It's been 21 years, not because I haven't wanted to go racing, but because I am enormous. I'm 6'5", 300 pounds. I don't fit in most race cars. You know, there's not many cars I could sit in. So it had been that long since I had been behind the wheel of a mini stock for a grudge race with Clinton Jeffrey. I can't remember what year that was. But to sit in a race car that had been set up for me and get behind the wheel was something pretty special.
How much Burger Barn are you guys going to be prepping to eat this year?
Oh, as much as possible. If you're going to the Ashwegan Pinty Series race,
we are.
Do not leave out. I'm sorry, Liv. Do not leave out the Burger Barn.
Okay.
Show up hungry. I still bet you won't be able to finish what they put in front of you.
Sounds like a challenge. Sounds like a challenge, Adam.
I don't know many people who haven't enjoyed their experience when they go to the Burger Barn. It is phenomenal food.
So, of course, the stuff that people want to know, Adam, what does Adam Ross order when he goes to the Burger Barn?
I love their breakfast poutine.
Wow.
So
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a skillet you would get anywhere else, you know, hash brown potatoes, some veggies in there, eggs on top, some cheese curds, and instead of gravy, it's hollandaise sauce because I'm watching my figure, and hollandaise sauce, as everybody knows, it's one of the healthiest things you can put on a meal.
That sounds incredible.
It is. It is. So I love the breakfast there. Little secret, breakfast is my favorite meal. Bacon, if you gave me the choice of anything in the world, bacon and eggs is my go-to. That's my comfort place.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much custom for a lot of people, but for sure, it's got to be cool that you've got a place that you can go right after. I assume after the race, maybe before the race, but
has to be before.
Has to be before, but. Are you able to have that before you actually get behind the wheel and strap in, or you gotta lighten the load?
I would not. I don't eat much on race day if I'm driving. I can't speak for other people. It's just not and that's why, a lot of racers, their health suffers in the summertime, because you go to a race, you wind up eating in a 24-hour diner somewhere at 2:00 in the morning. It's not the healthiest lifestyle, but damn, it sure is fun.
I cannot eat on race day. I get way too nervous.
Yeah, it's just like the butterflies that you get when you go racing and digesting food, they don't really go together. Right? I see some people that can eat away at the racetrack, jump in the car. It's not for me.
I would definitely say, because I'm in the minority here, I am not a race car driver here. Out of the two, almost three people actually now, because our good buddy Graydon Bunn is going to get behind the wheel at some point this summer as well. So both of you guys are actually great to have on, because we're going to get into our racing talk, and it's something that obviously I'm really excited to talk about. It's our 2022 NASCAR Pinty Series season, and I thought, for some reason, I thought it was so far away still, and then I realized I hadn't actually torn off the previous month off my calendar. So it's in 2 weeks, like next week, next Saturday, 14th. Wow. Adam, you said the voice isn't fully there yet. What do you got to have to do something to prep for it, right?
Yeah. I have ordered the entire Ariana Grande lunchbox of things, herbal remedies, treatments, everything you can do for your voice. And I've got some good friends who may have access to a specialist. So we'll look into that. Every winter I lose my voice, I get sick, no big deal. It usually comes back. It's no big concern. But we're into May, and I don't know if I could bellow a full night. I can sit here and talk to you for an hour, but you just tell it's not where it needs to be.
Well, I think, Liv, this would be a good question for her. I know we're having some technical issues there on that side of things. Of course, it wouldn't be a taping if we didn't have something. But if we turn Liv the other way, maybe you just have to turn your whatever you're looking at.
No, Cam, all you and I need to do is lay down.
Just and there we go.
It's gonna be okay. You have to roll with the punches.
Well, Liv, I know you'd love to speak right now, so we've got to make sure that mic is on. But but because we're both into this side of things now, we're learning what it's like to have to talk. And I don't know, Adam, how you guys do it without getting the voice like that, where you lose kind of, because I find that I get a dry mouth a lot when I'm trying to talk and do like a podcast. So like yesterday, I lost all the moisture in my mouth and I could not talk.
What's troublesome for me is talking over race cars, and which doesn't make any sense because that's what I do. But if I try to have a conversation with you at the racetrack,
yes,
and speak over top the race cars, my voice is done. When we used to race at Barrie Speedway, we would announce outdoors. Same with Edmonton. I'd lose my voice because you don't realize how loud. You don't have to talk that loud, but you're trying to hear yourself and hear the person you're announcing with. Liv, you've experienced the same thing?
Well, I am a part-time announcer in Edmonton, so I know exactly what you like the pit reporter, and I cannot. Anyways, I'm down in the pits trying to talk to the guys up in the little box that they sit in, and I cannot hear. I'll miss my cues because I don't hear them over the sound of the cars.
And it's funny, just listening to Olivia there talk, Cam, and these are the things that happen in our sport, or technical challenges. Clint and I have been 25 years at Ohsweken with a system that sounds exactly like that. So it's breaking up and trying to keep your cool and keep on talking, even though things aren't working exactly the way they should. And I know you're the maestro with all the controls. So you just got to keep smiling. On the inside, you're swearing and saying things that would make your mother blush. But
it's technology, right?
That's right.
And we're doing something that I think is really special because we really wanted to get Liv involved in the podcast. But of course, there's geographical changes that we have to endure. But Adam, the one thing that we can look towards is that this season starts. Well, it starts technically, I guess, next Friday. I mean, because the teams are going to get down into Sunset Speedway. I believe there's a test that's going to happen there. My understanding is there's a lot still that teams have to do in a short amount of time. We don't even have, I know there's some reveals that still haven't happened. Chaos, is that the word that we can say for this time of year?
There's cars that haven't been delivered yet.
That I've heard, and that's scary.
And the teams want to test, so you'll go to CTMP, you'll go to Sunset Speedway, you'll go wherever you can. If your car doesn't show up, you've still booked the tests. You've still rented track time. And I mean, they'll probably get their money back if they can't show up. Like, people are reasonable, but you've got plans in place, and they're in place for a reason, because you have to shake down your equipment. Track time is at a premium on a Pinty Series weekend. You don't want to be wasting it on a nut and bolt check or on a, hey, what has been left undone or incomplete on the car. So it is a stressful time, and there's lots of moving pieces. This offseason probably saw more people move than probably any other offseason in history of our series.
I definitely would agree on that side of things. We've seen some change, but to have as much change, and especially with things being as, I guess the word is, uncertain right now, because you said cars not being delivered, but from what I've heard, there's personnel, like, it's hard to find people, it's hard to find parts, it's hard to find body panels. It's kind of the biggest test, I think, that we've had, because this is the strongest looking the field's been probably for a good couple of years. But to have all these challenges, Adam, I can't imagine the pressure that all these teams and team owners really are under right now.
There's a lot going on, and a lot of people have made assurances. Like, all these things are done by contract and agreement. So not many people own and build the equipment they race. DJ Kennington is a great example. He builds his cars, runs his own program. He knows what's going on. He has that level of control. Take a Trayton Lapsevich, take an Alex Tagliani, take any of these people. They don't own the cars. They make an agreement with a team to lease the cars or to have a car prepared for them. So all these moving parts that are out of a driver's control and made, six-figure deals with sponsors and marketing partners, this stuff all has to come together. And it almost always does. It's amazing what you can get done in the last 48 hours before it's time to go racing.
So what do you think the biggest challenge with coming back out west is going to be with these supply chain issues and not having cars?
I think by that time, Liv, it's going to be worked out. And I think people are going to be so excited to get back to that routine. I mean, there's drivers that have been doing that haul for 30 years. That's been a part of their summer, is going out west, whether it was with CASCAR or NASCAR. The last 2 years, we haven't had that. Even though it's a big thrash, it's almost a vacation. It's a trip away. So I think that's going to be a really exciting week. I think the drivers are going to be thrilled to be back out there. And I don't think we'll see any shortage issues at that point. I haven't heard anything about General Tires. I think in that case, no news is probably good news, but we can't be sure. But I think I'm confident they have a plan that they'll have what they need.
And if they don't have the tires, do you think we could see them running like scuffed tires or finding completely new tire suppliers or something?
That's a tough question to answer, and I wouldn't want to answer that. Again, those are big contracts and big agreements between a tire provider and a series. NASCAR, of course, has big relationships with General Tire. They have big relationship with Goodyear. So there are alternatives, there are options. And the old expression, it didn't come from racing, but it applies very well. The show must go on. There will be a way, and it will happen.
There's a lot in terms of movement that we talked about. Obviously, there's some scheduled changes that we're going to get to. In terms of this season, obviously, there's a lot of buildup because Ohsweken was supposed to happen a couple years ago. We didn't get to it. We haven't been to the Toronto Indy in a couple of years. We haven't been out west in a couple of years. And of course, we're going all the way out to Newfoundland for Eastbound Park. So Adam, I know it's a stacked question, and I feel like I know the answer already. But of those races, which one are you most looking forward to? And I should say, aside from Ohsweken, because I know that's probably up there for you.
And it is. And you know, all respect to Glenn Stiers and Clinton Jeffrey for what they've put together and the monstrous purse they have put up for that show. I'm as excited to bring the NASCAR community out to see sprint car racing as I am to for our fans to see the NASCAR product on the racetrack. I just think it's a really cool coming together. On a personal level, I'm most excited about Newfoundland. Never been. My wife is going to fly out with me on the Friday, so we'll spend a weekend in Newfoundland and enjoy calling the race. And you know, it's going to be a whirlwind tour. But ironically, back in 2006, Joel Robinson hired me to do pit road. I don't know where Todd Lewis was, but he flew me out to Vernon, BC, and flew my wife out with me. That was part of the deal. I'd like for Angie to come out and spend a couple of days. Now, all these years later, 15, 16 years later, we're going to the other end of the country in Newfoundland to spend a weekend. So I get excited about all the events. Like they really do. Every event on the calendar has something that you can point at and say, yeah, that's why I love this one.
And who do you think is going to be good on can expect with these cars on dirt?
I expect Andrew Ranger will be the fastest of the regular NASCAR competitors, NASCAR Pinty's competitors. I just think he is the most versatile driver in the series. I think Stuart Friesen is obviously going to be one to watch. I think Dave Bailey, a local Thunderstock driver from Hagersville, is going to be one to watch. So it really is, to me, this is exciting. To me, over the years, watching the ringers they bring into the truck series, whether it was Scott Bloomquist or other late model racers, they missed the mark by a mile. Scott Bloomquist doesn't know the first thing about driving a NASCAR truck. They're nowhere near the same. But a Pinty series car compared to a Thunderstock on dirt, I think you're looking at very similar characteristics.
That's obviously extremely exciting to hear because Dave Bailey, has done it all on dirt, really. And especially the fact that he's going to be with a team that brought us Andrew Ranger, brought us Alex Tagliani. This is the thing. Dave Jacobs announced, or Joel Robinson announced that Alex Gannett's going to drive for Jacobs this year. He might be the smartest guy in the NASCAR Pinty series with some of the names that he partners up with, bringing JP Bergeron this year as well, somebody who has untapped potential. But when we talk about this Ohsweken race, we talked about who you think is going to be good, but who do you think is going to surprise people? Because there's some good dirt racers that maybe people would have no idea that they are really good on dirt.
The fun part about that, Cam, is I don't have an answer for you because it's going to be a surprise, right? Like, Brett Taylor with like, he hasn't had experience in much of anything, yet he comes out and wins a Pinty Series race. Trayton Lapsevich, he has no dirt experience. Would not surprise me in the least to see him come out and figure things out. There's so many drivers with so much talent that's the fun thing about the Pinty Series. In other NASCAR series, Kyle Busch famously quoted recently saying 95% of the truck field race on daddy's money.
Mm-hmm.
The Pinty's field is not like that. It is talented racers who have found a way to go racing. Some of them fund themselves. Some of them are successful business people. Brett Taylor is an example. Ray Jr. Quartermanche. These are self-made people, and they want to come racing. Good for them. But combine them with an LP Dumoulin, Andrew Ranger, Alex Tagliani, DJ Kennington, Trayton Lapsevich, Larry Jackson. I mean, that is depth. That is so much passion and experience and know-how. That's why I put our series up against any series to say, watch what these cars are doing. All that's been missing for the last 5 years is the bottom half of the field. We've had the top half. We've had the 12, 15, 16 cars that are there to compete every week. We just need the other 12 or 14 cars that fill that field and really leave people with a fantastic impression of what they just watched. And I think we're getting there.
And who do you think this season is going to be one driver that's really going to like surprise everyone and do well?
I don't know who would surprise people. I expect big things from Gary Clute this season. I expect big things from Trayton Lapsevich. Heck, I haven't even mentioned Kevin Lacroix, the most dominant racer of the last 5 years. That's how deep the field is. That's how deep the talent is. So surprise, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I would like to see Sam Fellows step out. Like, I think there's a driver who is going to turn a corner in a hurry. He's had to, like, he's drinking from the fire hose that first year that he raced. I think he's going to have earned his wings and get out there and make some waves in this series. So I think he's a driver we can watch.
It's something that is really exciting as a Pinty super fan, to finally have this kind of build up again, because we were so strong in 2019. And then I think everybody was so, myself included, me and Graydon were petrified that we were going to lose our favorite series over COVID, because those numbers in 2020, 2021 was much better. But even starting at Sunset last year, we weren't sure if we were going to have 18 cars to make the first race of the season. There's talk that we're going to see potential up to 30 at these road course races, and we know there really isn't there isn't a weak team really in the bunch. So it's obviously it's something that I think we're rewarding in a way, Pinty's, for what they've done for us. I mean, it's remarkable. And the fact that Adam, they signed back on for 5 more years, I think it speaks volumes to how the series is doing.
Yeah, I think there was concern when Tony Spiteri left, like what's going to happen. But Jen Booth, I'll tell you what, she's no slouch. She stepped right in. She knows what she wants. She knows what she wants for the Pinty's brand, and she's a dynamo. She's fun to be around, fun to watch.
It's 2022, Adam. We had 2 years of kind of right? The championship battle, though, last year was nuts, and it came down to the last weekend. Are we expecting more of the same this year?
Mm-hmm. Our season is a chase. It always has been. A dozen races. You can't afford to have many bad ones. I think we're so polite in Canada, and we so not want to hurt someone's feelings that we didn't talk a lot about the collapse of Alex Tagliani. I mean, it was a collapse of epic proportions. And I feel horribly for him. I mean, he's passionate. He is a deserving champion. The final weekend of the year, he saw it all unravel. And as I say, we're very polite. The more media people come around and you have these conversations, you start to say, hey, what happened there? And in Alex's defense, that car just was not competitive from the time they took it off the trailer. And I'm not saying it's because of the people that prepared the car. Alex gives a lot of input on what he wants from the car. So whatever was going on there, it just didn't work. So if I'm going to recreate that this year, and I'm Alex Tagliani, I already have it circled somehow. I let's find out what setup these drivers had on their cars who were really, really good. All he needed to do was be mediocre at Delaware, and he's your 2021 champion. And it didn't pan out for him.
That whole last race of the season was crazy. I couldn't watch it live, but just following it on social media was kind of bizarre because you're not seeing the whole story. But do you think that we're going to see a first-time winner this season? And who do you think it could be?
Ooh. Liv's got the big question for Adam Ross.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a cop-out answer because that's what I do. Alex Gannett and Dave Bailey.
Ooh.
My two picks for first-time winners in the series.
I like that. I'm going to go with Trayton and Brandon Watson. From what I saw from both of those guys, and Brandon only raced a couple races last year.
A good point. I thought Trayton won. You're right, he didn't because I covered Pinty's and APC.
Yeah,
you see Trayton in victory lane. You're right. He is the obvious choice. Crazy speed. But
this is the thing, though. This is the thing. Is I look at the list and I go, I don't even know who's a championship favorite this year because you could pick literally any of 19 to 20 people. It's crazy.
I'm going to tell you this. The champion this year is going to have to swallow their pride once in a while. Once in a while, the driver who survives to win the championship is the one who settles for a fifth place finish instead of risking their car to go up and grab third place. Because the field is bigger, risk versus reward, you're going to have to weigh that out. I would love to see Kevin Lacroix get rewarded for the years he has spent. There's a driver who has changed so very much, but they have a hard time turning it down. They have a hard time finishing second if there's any chance they could win, even if it means they could wad the car up on the last lap. So that's where I think this year with the number of cars, we're going to get to the end of the year and say, hey, remember this? Remember when this driver settled for fourth or fifth, but brought the car home, took a 10th place car, made it a fifth place car. That could be a big turning point.
And what do you think, the biggest takeaway from this off season and really all of COVID has been now that we're finally coming back for the full proper season coming back?
Yeah, I think don't underestimate willpower and don't underestimate the passion of racers to want to go out and compete, because it was not easy to go out in front of an empty grandstand and go racing, but everyone did it. The sponsor stepped up, the series stepped up, the track stepped up, and the team stepped up. It was a combination of people all having to make certain sacrifices because it's not the way they want to go racing, but they did it. And now 2022 should be the payoff. It should be the reward for that sacrifice, because I believe even with an economy that's really challenging right now, I think we're going to see monstrous crowds.
We can only hope. I think we're at that point where, people are going to make the decision whether they want to go to a Pinty's race or not, but we are going to continue to ring the bell for the NASCAR Pinty series all season long. We are going to be at mostly every race. I think every race except for a couple, I think 3 maybe, which is huge for our little podcast for this season. But we obviously would not be able to have this podcast without the great support that you and everybody has shown us, especially yourself and the Geforce team. So much so that we are going to do you proud by having you right on our uniform this
Fabulous.
season. We definitely want to make sure that we point you guys out and all the great stuff that you guys do. In case people aren't aware, Adam, what can we see on Geforce Racing this summer?
So GeforceTV.net, we've got the APC United Late Model Racing Series, so 9 races on Ontario short tracks. We've got our Pinty's Knights of Thunder, 360 dirt sprint cars. We've got 10 races to bring you on the dirt. So that was really important to us to balance our schedule, dirt and asphalt, and provide phenomenal entertainment from both series. So between those 2 series, the fun we're going to have with the NASCAR Pinty series, it's going to be a wild year. But yeah, Geforce is going to have plenty of programming. And then one thing that we never anticipated, our Geforce Lite, we show a lot of races that were pre-recorded on weekends, and we stream them Tuesday nights after our weekly Rivals Race Chat programming. And they're pretty popular as well. It gives people a chance to watch themselves. And sometimes the chat gets pretty funny because you don't often get to watch a race and chat with the drivers who were in that race at the same time.
Yeah, we definitely not. For Liv, for Graydon Bunn, who I know would definitely want to be here, the Bunn sons, Adam Ross, we're going to have a lot of fun this season. We can't wait to see you at the track. For me, it'll be at Sunset Speedway for Liv. I think your first race, Liv's first race will be at Edmonton, and she'll be able to see you there. Yeah. We'll try and get some footage, right, Liv? With Adam Ross.
I'm in the process of trying to convince my parents to let me go all the way out for some of the East Coast races, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, keep working. Don't give up. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I know that I have paid for a lot of things for my boys just to stop them from whining. So you keep it up and keep pestering, and you never know what can happen.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be on.